Hi guys, welcome to Counterfire. My name is Connor, and today we're going to be talking about how tomfoolery caused a lover's quarrel between Adam Friended and Sitch from the Sitch and Adam show. Now, normally I like to be a nice fella, you know, I like to be generous, graceful, etc., but I am experiencing a mild amount of schadenfreude, so I'm going to walk you through it, and we are going to enjoy it together. So, breaking this down, what the debate was supposed to be was tomfoolery was coming on the show to debate whether or not Trump was a fascist, and they, as far as I can tell, I skipped it. No offense to anybody involved, just a little dry for me, okay? Somebody tagged me in the fact that Adam left the show abruptly and did not return, which I thought was kind of funny, so I'll watch the 5 to 10 minutes before that, right? Well, what ended up happening was they were talking about the definitional differences between fascism and authoritarianism and what actions actually constitute authoritarianism, etc. Now, for our purposes, just for the sake of broadening the discussion and making it a little bit more deep while still talking about silly drama, fascism, I read Benito Mussolini, I read Adolf Hitler, I watched videos by Cultured Thug and by Keith Woods, who are modern day nationalist and fascist philosophers. I've had conversations with them. I asked them if my understanding of it was correct. So far be it from me to say that I believe I have the correct definitions and the correct understanding of the philosophy, but I believe I do. I'm happy to be corrected by people who might know a little bit more than me, but I think I know it. So what I believe fascism to be, based off of my understanding, is flexible authoritarianism and political corporatism. Now, for the uninitiated, flexible authoritarianism basically means that you will do what is required in order to obtain and maintain power. You don't care about the rules of the republic. You don't care about the rules of democracy. You don't care about the rules of the monarchy. You don't care about the rules of the papal state. You will ally yourself with institutions that presently exist in order to seize power for yourself and the people who are like-minded to you. However, these institutions that grant you power are not sacrosanct. And as a matter of fact, they could be dissolved or reinforced at any moment as long as it enables your power. The struggle for power is actually kind of like the sacred struggle of the fascist, is to be a great man in a great society and to get everyone, as iron sharpens iron, men sharpen men, to always be sharpening yourself against the will and the power of others, right? It's a philosophy that venerates struggle. Now, when it comes to when it comes to the political corporatism, it's not what you think. Now, if you Google corporatism right now, you'll find that it's like, well, it's when a bunch of private and public interests form corporations to advocate for their interests under a state. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about corporatism, the root word being core, body, okay? So it's when you conceptualize the nation state or your political entity or your fascist political entity as a body. There's a heart, there's a brain, there's eyes, there's ears, all that kind of stuff. And you try to harmonize the same way that the human body in its ideal shape is harmonized between its many structures in order to create the most effective, healthy human being. That is the attempt of the fascists, is to harmonize the corporate body. Now, of course, this gets a little wonky when you start identifying people of other ethnic groups, other racial groups, other language groups of being parasites or fungus or some kind of infection that you must rid yourself of in order to reinforce the harmony of the political corporative group. And that's oftentimes the authoritarianism and slaughter that we associate with Italy and Germany, and I think to a lesser degree, Spain and Chile as well. So all right, so that's fascism, right? So they're all discussing these things and they're breaking it down. Well, what ends up happening is tomfoolery starts talking about how, let me back up a step. When I walked in, Adam Friended was talking about how being delusional, but acting in a good faith manner based off of your delusions would actually exclude you from being authoritarian. So as an example, if Donald Trump had proof positive that the election was stolen, then his actions on January 6th, the fake elector scheme, and his actions in 2022 when he made that statement, those would all be justified. Right? It might be delusional, it might be not lining up with facts, but he's carrying out his duties to the best of his ability. Well, tomfoolery, I think, correctly points out that Hitler was also delusional to a degree, okay? He believed that the revolution in Russia was a Jewish fabrication because it was populated by some Jewish folk, was a Jewish fabrication. And what the Jews were trying to do through Marxism and through global communism is they were trying to dissolve the bonds of nationalism and the nation state and linguistic groups and create a universal proletarian class that would then be enslaved by the Jewish elite, right? And so he didn't see Marxism as like a good faith attempt in order to institute socialism or communism on the planet. He thought that it was a Jewish conspiracy. Well, based off of that conspiracy, if you believe that to be true, then it explains all of his subsequent actions, right? He's still delusional, but he's taken authoritarian means in order to act quickly against this existential threat against the national identity of Germans, nationalism as an idea, and also to prevent all of humanity from turning into, Mr. Nick Fuentes calls them cappuccino debt slaves. That's what Adolf Hitler was worried about, was an entire planet being enslaved in this homogenous, aracial, proletarian mass. That's what he was concerned with, if you actually read his writing. So based off of that delusion, and I'm saying delusion because I think that there are socialists and communists who fervently believe that a aracial, nationalistic, communist planet would be better, and so they work towards that goal to good ends. He used ethnic conflict in order to segregate and dispossess, and I'm trying to think of other artful ways to work up to slaughter, but basically he did everything but kill them, and then he killed them. That's what he did to European Jewry. So if you say, well, he's operating under a delusion, then there has to be another factor, right, that causes Hitler to be authoritarian, even if he's operating under facts that don't line up with reality. So Sitch takes that logic point. First, Tomfoolery presses Adam on that point, and then Adam says, "You're being bad faith," and mutes him. I'm really not trying to be mean, but I'm just gonna say it. I think this dude has an 80 IQ. Okay? I think he doesn't understand that someone disagreeing with you and following a different logic chain, hearing your argument and continuing to disagree with you, is not bad faith. It's a disagreement. Okay? So Sitch, hearing this argument and believing that there's valid and sound, right? So valid means that the logic flows. Sound means not only does the logic flow, it's also real. If I get those inverted, my apologies, but I had to Google that because somebody was lecturing me about it. So Sitch says, hold on a second. You're using delusion as an excuse. Just because Trump is delusional doesn't mean that his actions wouldn't necessarily be authoritarian. Can you give me an example of a delusional person who is also authoritarian? And so I think Adam correctly, to his credit, like I'm not trying to totally dog on the man, right? To his credit, he says, Saddam Hussein executes 50 of the wrong people believing that they're conspiring against him. And so Sitch follows up and says, okay, so you're saying that he executed 50 people under a delusion. So what's authoritarian about that action? Is it because he killed them without due process? And Adam says, I'm done with you, and disconnects from the call and doesn't show back up. It's like, bro, I don't think Sitch was going for a gotcha. He was trying to get you to follow the variables and the lines of your own argument. Okay? And by the way, I think that would be decent content. If you're like, you know what? Actually, obviously you can be delusional and authoritarian at the same time. Therefore, XYZ ABC. Now, the reason why I think that he didn't do that and he disconnected, I'm sure they're having lovers quarrels in private as well. But the reason why this is funny to me is because Adam could have kept fighting. He could have said, yeah, like the authoritarianism is obviously in the action regardless of the delusion. And I don't think that Trump's actions after January 6th are authoritarian, but then that kind of like pokes a hole in the argument, right? It pokes a hole in the argument because then it kind of opens up, well, what is throwing, doing the fake elector scheme? What is, I'm just going to say it, okay? I know there's Trump people who don't agree with my assessment of Trump's rhetoric, but I think that basically stochastically working up your people to believe that the republic is stolen. You have now lost your country. We have to take it back. We have to stop the steal. What do you do if an election is stolen and it's fraudulent? You rebel, obviously. Like there are so many quotes from the founding fathers of our country that Trump appeals to that would demand rebellion against the federal government if the election was knowingly fraudulent. But he hasn't proven that it's fraudulent. Therefore, it would be at minimum, I don't know if usurpacious is a word, but it sounds like it is. It would be at minimum the work of a usurper, and at maximum, it would be an attempted coup. Now, I get it. People don't like coup because the military wasn't involved. They don't like coup because most of the January 6ers didn't show up with firearms. I understand that you want to quibble about the definition, but it is an attempt by Donald Trump to usurp the rightful, peaceful transfer of power that we have established in our country based off of our system, and he's trying to destroy it. So I think because Adam saw, now this is projection, you know, I'm projecting my brain into his brain, and that's not always accurate, so I'm going to apologize in advance. However, I think he saw that Sitch had differentiated authoritarianism from delusion, that those two variables were now separate, and if he followed the logic chain, he would lose to first Sitch and then potentially Tom. So this is why I was being mean on Twitter, man. Like, listen, I don't like being mean. I don't like it. I like being friendly with most people. But if you're going to be rude, condescending, accuse me of being a liar when I can back every single one of my perspectives, I will debate almost anyone on almost anything, and I will tell you exactly what I think. And not only that, if I see something that's flawed in my argument, I will amend my argument. I will attempt to understand it in real time. And I think I'm pretty conciliatory in debates. I debate to understand, not to be correct. So if you call me a liar, but you get pressed a little bit and you fall apart like a wet paper bag, that's hilarious to me, right? And if you're gonna be talking all that shit on Twitter, talking all that shit in person, well, not in person, talking all that shit online, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be talking that shit in person, then yeah, I'm gonna laugh when you fall. I'm gonna laugh when you step on a giant rake and slam it right into your face. That's hysterical to me. So, you know, I hope he eats some humble pie. I hope he chills out. He's still like every accusation that I've made of him about being like a Trump simp, like a closeted Trump simp, which is the most embarrassing thing you can be. Just say you support the man. Just do it. Because the whole hiding the cup thing, everybody knows where the ball is. Just pull the cup off. Show us the ball. We know where it's at. Anyways, hilarious content. I recorded it, so if it does go down, then we'll have a copy of it. But anyways, I appreciate y'all checking this out. I hope you enjoyed my rant. I hope you enjoyed my breakdown. I hope you learned a little bit about fascism and authoritarianism and argumentation today. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of drama that we just went over. Like, share, subscribe, dislike all that YouTube nonsense. Become a member on YouTube if you want. Become a patreon.com/counterpoints member if you want. Be sure to like the video and the algorithm. It really does help. So I do get, no matter what, no matter the video, I get wildly passionate comments, but drama always does better, right? Interpersonal internet drama always does better, but I want to talk about real politics too, right? So if you are wildly passionate, if you enjoy this content, if you enjoy this little niche of the internet that we're a part of and you like my contributions to it, then please like, share, and subscribe and comment. That way we can grow the content that is both a little bit silly with a little bit of drama, but also has a little bit of meat on the bone and sometimes can be a little bit serious. Because if it's all drama content, if you guys all want just commentary, then eventually I'm going to chase the dollar signs. I'm not going to lie. And what I mean by that is y'all want to talk about autistic internet weirdos fighting each other? Me too, right? Like I want to talk about serious stuff too, but if that pays my bills, so on a third channel, I can talk about, you know, serious stuff, then I'll just talk about serious stuff on a third channel. And here will just be another drama Twitch poll, YouTube poll commentary channel. If that pays the bills, it is what it is. But parasocial love to you and yours. Do all the things. Appreciate you. Catch you in the next one. Godspeed. Bye for now.